Hello everybody and welcome to this latest episode of the Money Man News. And today we've got two fantastic banknotes that have just been released in the Latin American nation of Mexico. That's right, we are going to look at two new banknotes that have just been released in mid-November in Mexico. And I'll show you the highest denomination that I've got for you today. It's the 1,000 peso note. Here we go. Now, you can see straight off the bat that this is a very, very visually appealing banknote. And if you described this to me in terms of its color palette, I would have said, doesn't sound very interesting. But even though we've only got maybe 3 or 4 colors in the color palette, it works really, really well. Because you've got the contrast of the violet that you can see in the 1000 reflective denomination in the right hand corner and the security strip over to the left, and that contrasts really well with the sort of drab grey photographic nature of the images of the 3 people in the center of the banknote. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail in terms of the history behind the people that are featured in this banknote, but what I will tell you is that we have the images of 3 very prominent people who were involved in the Mexican Revolution. And you'll also see just behind them, to the left of them, you have a locomotive, a steam locomotive. And the reason for that is because this banknote celebrates the means of transport that those revolutionaries used to move around the country in order to disseminate their revolutionary ideals amongst the people. So what you have is a very strong celebration of that revolutionary movement and the means in which it was achieved, transportation. And there's a really cool app that you can get, actually. You can download the app, and when you put the banknote in front of your phone, the camera picks it up, and what it does is it actually projects or shows a 3D image of a steam locomotive moving over your banknote, as if your banknote was a piece of railroad track. It's a really interesting app, and I'm hoping that I can demonstrate this when I actually have physical examples of the banknote in my hand. When I do have those physical examples, I will go into much more detail about the history behind the figures represented on the front of this banknote. But I think that this design is absolutely fantastic and is a very, very beautiful banknote. So for me, the Obverse is a winner, okay? Now, why do I say the Obverse is a winner? Well, the reverse is not as good, okay? So let's flip it over and look at the back. Now, this is where the colour scheme starts to let the banknote down quite significantly, in my opinion. And what you can see here is that the imagery doesn't seem as crisp as you would expect. It seems almost like, not blurry, but the quality is just not that great. However, what is represented on the back of the banknote is very, very interesting. Now, you can see that we've got an animal that is dominating the reverse of this banknote, and that is, of course, the jaguar. Now, the jaguar is an animal that can be found across the rainforests of Central and South America. However, it is the buildings behind the jaguar and the special connection to the civilization that built those structures that is the key thing here, I think. Now, just behind the jaguar to the right, you can see some stone pyramid-shaped structures. Now, these are Maya ruins, and we've got to remember that the Maya were one of the 3 great Mesoamerican cultures that predated the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors. We're thinking of the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca. And, of course, even today, we can find absolutely stunning structures left over from the great Maya civilization. So I think it's really nice that the Mesoamerican culture, the Mesoamerican history that predates European colonialization, is represented here. I think that's important, and I think it's really, really interesting as well. You've got that contrast of Spain's more modern history with, Mexico's more modern history after Spanish colonialization. And then you've got the pre-colonialization period of Mesoamerican history, and I really like that contrast. And it's the connection between the jaguar and the Mayan culture which is especially interesting. You have to remember that the jaguar was a very important animal to the Maya. Okay, it was important in their culture, in their religion, in their traditions. So I think that connection is really nice. However, you can see that the broader theme of flora and fauna is represented because we've got some native tree species, and we've also got a cheeky spider monkey hanging around in the trees, or at least I think it's a spider monkey. Please let me know if I am wrong in the comment section if you can identify the breed. And what you've got woven into the back of the banknote are some patterns that are very reminiscent of the pictographic language of the Maya. Of course, the Maya used a type of hieroglyphs as their written form, and it's very reminiscent of Maya art as well. So really, really interesting theme in this banknote. It's just the imagery is just not that good in my opinion, but the themes are fantastic. Now, that's what I think about this banknote. Overall, I'm very happy with it. The Obverse really champions this banknote. So, if you thought that banknote was good, wait until I show you what I have in store for you now, because this next one is an absolute gem. Here we've got the new 100 peso note, and you can see it is a vertical banknote, and I absolutely love this. I think this is a strong contender for banknote of the year, and yes, that is a very bold claim to make, but I think this one is absolutely fantastic, and I fell in love with it the instant I saw it. And you can see it's quite unique. Now, I mistaken this for a commemorative at first. I can't remember why, but I've written down in my notes that it was a commemorative. And then one of my subscribers very, very kindly pointed out that mistake, so I just had to redo this video because I cannot abide by such obvious mistakes. So I do apologize, guys. In my rush to get content out, I've been making some pretty sloppy mistakes recently. I do apologize. I've got to fix this and make this better. So I will endeavor to do so. And this is an example of that. So I'm not sure whether this is a polymer or a hybrid, but I'm pretty sure it could go either way. At first I thought it was a polymer, and then looking at the image I was like, hey, it's a hybrid. I'm really not sure. But you can see that it's got a clear window at the top, and we've got some butterflies floating around it. You've got some nice silhouettes of butterflies, and that's quite key. But what this banknote really celebrates is sort of literature of the colonial period. That's when Mexico was obviously part of the Spanish Empire. Again, I will go into much more detail about this when I get physical examples of this banknote in my hand, and I can really go into much more detail in another video. So do bear with me on that front. But you guys know that I absolutely adore red and burgundy banknotes, and I really like the contrast with the the nice inner courtyard of the building that's represented in blue, and then you've got the sort of like turquoise color, and it contrasts really nice with the sort of pink, red, burgundy that's going on. Very, very nice. And this banknote reminds me of the Ulster Bank Northern Irish polymer banknotes that have been released over the last few years in terms of its design layout and obviously the vertical nature of the banknote. And it also reminds me of the 50 Hong Kong dollar bills that were recently released because they have the theme of butterflies on the reverse. So, I feel that there are some themes that are very popular at the moment, butterflies being one of them, and I'm not quite sure why, but there we go. So let's have a look at the reverse. It'll tell you a little bit more about why I keep going on about these damn butterflies. Here we go. So you can see on the reverse, we've got the monarch butterfly, a very beautiful, very easily recognizable species that can be found in many parts of the world, actually. Very, very nice indeed. But obviously, a species that you can find in some abundance in Mexico. So again, we've got that theme of flora and fauna represented in these banknotes, and I think it's really nice how the colors of the monarch influence the banknote. Very, very nice feature. There's a nice continuity there, and I like how you've got this sort of flowing sort of pattern that sort of represents a windswept mountain range. It's very, very nice. There's a lot of harmony in these banknotes. I really, really like it. You almost get the sense that it's representing nature as being alive. You know, one of the mistakes of, some previous banknote designs, they've just featured animals in kind of awkward poses. But the more recent banknotes very much show nature in motion, and I think that's a really nice theme. So this one, it's really got me. I think this is an incredible banknote, and I cannot wait to get hold of this, and then I can do another video that goes into much, much more detail. So, let me know what you think. Do you agree with my assertion that this is a contender for Banknote of the Year? Because it is a bold claim. And it's been an interesting year. There have been some good releases and not so great ones. So, I don't know. It's got some competition, but maybe not that much. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'd love to hear your thoughts and views. So, that is everything that I have for you today. Please, please, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out and it really spurs me on. And I tell you what spurs me on more than anything. The kind comments that I get from you guys. Like, I love the criticism. I need it. But I love it when it's packaged in a way that's like nice and like, hey dude, you kind of messed this up. I will correct it as soon as I can. So thank you so much, especially to those of you who, politely convey your disagreements or your criticisms or when you notice something that's wrong. I really appreciate that. It helps me out so, so much. So thank you very much, and thank you for being patient with my corrections as well. Okay, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. It's the Money Man signing out for now. Bye-bye, everyone.